Welcome. Episode 346 we got cooking today.
Yes.
Holy
Churning
smokes.
up just hilarity and brainy stuff.
Oh, I wish.
Churning
if
out,
only.
I guess that's the word. Churning out.
How
Churning
are
out.
you? Are you still single? What's going on?
Still single, looking to mingle.
What if I asked you that every week?
That would be hilarious. You totally should.
Sarah, are you single?
I think I'm going to be single for a while.
Yeah?
Yeah. But I'll tell you, I met somebody yesterday, not like romantically.
Sure.
But I was at the airport. And I was just having a rough day. Like, I had been doing a lot of traveling. My flight was canceled. It was all, messed up. And I had no sleep. And it was that morning I had also gotten served with the divorce papers. And so that's, like, heavy. So here I am, like, walking around the airport, like, just thinking about how... Oh gosh, what, like, am I going to be alone forever? Like, is
That's
this
what you were thinking?
Kinda. Just, I was having like one of those, if you look over, like the things that are contributing to my mood, I didn't have any food. I hadn't had coffee yet. I was tired and didn't get enough sleep. I had just come from doing a sexual assault training with the military. Like, that's really emotionally draining to like share all that and be there for, hear those stories and hold that space for people. And so I was just in a place where I was like, Mm-hmm. And then all this stuff, the divorce stuff is like, right there on my mind. And I'm just kind of walking around like, oh God, just with this heavy feeling. And so I go to, some airport restaurant, probably TJ Fridays or something, and sit down and I go and I'm like looking around for a plug. And this guy is like, do you need a plug? Like, here, you can reach, the cord will reach all the way over here and I can plug it in, no problem. And anytime a guy talks to me, there's like this first initial, like, is he trying to hit on me thing?
Well,
and
just to jump in, he is.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought in the beginning. And then, so I sat down and I'm like, turn my back to him. And I don't know what he said, but he said something along the lines of like, oh, God, it was like hopeful and optimistic and something like, sometimes you just need somebody to like help you out a little bit.
Sure.
It was something like that about plugging the thing in. And I was like, oh, thanks, And I don't know how we got started talking because I was giving off the I don't want to talk vibes.
Yeah.
And he just opens up and he says like, I just got divorced a few years ago and I'm in love with this woman who's like the most amazing woman I've ever met. Here, let me show you a picture. He was like one of those where he like wanted to talk and wanted to engage.
Good God.
And then started saying it was like every single thing that I needed to hear.
Oh.
I started crying right there to him.
Oh.
This guy came in and he was like, I unsolicited, like I did not... I had no idea what, like, I didn't say anything about getting divorced, but he's like, sometimes after getting divorced, it could feel like you are just going to be alone forever and you're just not going to, and like, it's so hard. And I just thought, you know what I got to do? I got to work on myself and I got to put all my energy into me right now. And I had not told him I just got divorced. And then all of a sudden I just started tearing up and I was like, I needed this information more than you could ever know because I'm in the middle of getting divorced and I just got my divorce papers and you are saying the counter to every single thought that was running through my head today. And it was like so amazing and wonderful. And then he was joking and he's like, and here you were probably thinking that I was trying to hit on you or something.
Well, for sure was. I mean, if you were like, will you sleep with me right now? Do you really think he'd be like, absolutely not?
I kind of think there was something different about this guy.
He's like a little angel?
I think so.
Okay.
Like it really, oh my God, I'm going to teary-eyed talking about it. I was like,
my God.
Oh my God, this guy, it was like exactly what I needed when I needed it. And it was just like somebody who just pops right down and there you go. And then is like, and then starts talking to me about like what he did afterwards. What really helped him find himself was that he went into nature and he went on a long hike by himself. And he's like, I did the Appalachian Trail and I was thinking about doing the Pacific Crest Trail. And that's the book that I read, Wild, where I decided I got to get divorced.
Yeah.
So he brings up the book that was like the story in the book that was the thing that it was just too weird, all these weird serendipitous coincidences that were happening. And then we walk out of the airport together. And I've always said that, like, whenever I'm in a place where I feel like I need a sign, I'm always like, universe, just like give me a sign. And I always see like a heart rock or a heart in something or a heart, wherever, and like in nature or whatever. And as I'm leaving the airport and thinking about this guy and like thinking like, wow, what an angel. And I look up at the sky and there's a Mylar balloon, a heart balloon that's caught in the, like, air conditioning thing at the airport.
Aww.
Right as I look up and go, wow, thank you. Thanks, God. Thanks, universe, for giving me that. And then it's like, boom, heart balloon in the middle of the like random place in the ceiling. I was like, man, I think he was like an angel.
It's lucky that you're open to those things, because that would not happen to me, because I'd shut it down like way before you did.
He was like one of those people where even despite me shutting it down and sitting with my back to him, he was like, no, I have information that I need to tell you.
Well, I'm glad it was a blessing to you.
Yeah, it really was. So it was nice.
And you know our listeners are going to be so into this story.
Susie's like rolling her eyes, but
Just
it really
anytime
was.
a guy wants to tell me about things he's learned, I'm going to shut down. But I'm glad it spoke to you.
It did. And at the same point, because I had that thought too, where I was like kind of in what you're thinking right now. And I was like, wow, Sarah, this is one of those times where you need to let go of those, you know, because when I first started dating men, or when I was dating women and then was like, you know, maybe I could open my eyes up to
a little
open my
deep
mind up,
digging.
you know, maybe. I met this guy who became my roommate who was like that too, where he was like just a really good dude friend.
Yeah.
And it was great. And he taught me so much, and I was like, oh, there are awesome dudes out there.
There are.
And so I felt like this was another moment where I was like, oh, is this all, like, guys just, you know, guys are like this. And then the universe gave me of like, here you go, here's one who's like emotional, in touch with all those things, values that.
Wait, what did he think when you started crying on the spot?
He was real sweet. He was like, you can tell this guy like was good at holding space for people. And then he told me a little bit about his story, and he was a paramedic, firefighter paramedic, and then left that, and now he's a muralist who travels all over the world painting murals, but now he's in love with this woman and wants to settle down. He's going back to school to become a physician's assistant. So he's like a caretaker, like he's got that in him, where he's like, I gotta help people, I gotta...
Are you guys like Facebook friends now or something?
I think we're friends on Instagram.
Oh my God!
But we haven't like communicated since our airport...
Oh my God, I love it. I can't wait to look through his feed.
Right?
And it was judge him.
Yeah. But it was just like a real special little like moment. So.
Sometimes when you're going through stuff, you are more like open to those moments in the universe. I think I've been there maybe once or twice.
Yeah. I needed that. It was just like one of those where now I've like been reflecting on it and being like, oh, I'm going to focus on
How old is
me.
this clown?
I'd probably say like late 30s.
No way.
Younger.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it was a meaningful moment for you.
Thank you, Sus.
I mean, say that. Wow, I don't know where to go from there.
So
I'm
that
pretty
was
good
like
at segues,
that was the whole. Are you still single? The answer is no or yes, because I'm focusing on me.
Well, if you're focusing on you, one thing you might want to do is take some classes with Skillshare.
Oh yes,
we have been loving them for a long time. Skillshare is a great option if you want to pursue learning and continuing your education, but you don't have the time or the inclination to go to university or whatever. And it's an online learning community. They have thousands of amazing classes. They have dozens of creative and entrepreneurial skills that you can learn about. Like if you want to do photography or creative writing or whatever. I think there's a lot of people who are like, I'd like to learn about such and such, but they're never going to go to a college or something. And so this is such a nice option if you're wanting to do that and continue your lifetime learning, which is what we always talk about. What would you take? Well, like if you were going to, I would be interested in photography, but I'm not.
That's like the first thing that jumps in my head too, because I'm thinking about how just learning a little bit of the basics.
Yeah.
And thinking about our book club book Range, which is all about learning about a range of things.
Yeah.
What a great tool to learn a little bit about those things. The one that I'm looking at though, finances.
Oh, that's a great one.
I need that.
That's a really good choice.
Yeah.
I have read books and stuff because I was like you, like I feel like I should know more about this. But even after I read them, I was like, I don't know.
Right. I'm like, I don't know those words. I need somebody.
An instructor.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Join the millions of students already learning on Skillshare today with a special offer just for our listeners. Get 2 months of Skillshare for free. So you get 2 months, you can try it out. This is what I'm always telling you, people. Just do it.
Yeah,
that's right. Skillshare is offering the Brain Candy podcast listeners 2 months of unlimited access to thousands of classes for free. To sign up, go to Skillshare.com/braincandy. Again, go to Skillshare.com/braincandy to start your 2 months now. That's Skillshare.com/braincandy. How cool is that? We love learning around here.
Oh, love it. It's like my favorite thing.
It's our favorite.
And like learning and drinking wine. And if you could do the same, both of them at
Maybe
the same time.
Maybe they have a class about...
like sommelier class.
Yeah, like
I bet
wine.
They do.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I could, because then it seems like you're drinking in a way that's acceptable, not just to soothe your weary brain.
Right.
I wanted to find this thing that I have saved on my phone that is... okay, I guess it was... lacrosse list of all the people. Where the fudge is it? Oh,
lacrosse,
damn.
like the sport?
Yeah, it was like the team that is the national champions.
Okay.
But it had a list of their names, and now I can't find it. But it was, I could basically tell you, Braden, Connor, it was 50 of them. And you're like, oh my God. Okay, wait, here it is. Okay, this is the first team. Men's all-name team for lacrosse. Okay. Shackleford, first name.
Shackleford?
Shackleford, Stanwyck Sr.
Oh, of course it is.
Senior? What does that even
senior?
mean?
Like there's a junior?
Like I'm confused by these abbreviations. Okay, the next one is Quinn Commandment.
Oh, God.
Declan Smartwood. These are not made up.
No.
Yes, Holden Rose. Dar Sleeper, Sky Dupree, Taggart, Eimer,
well,
Dallas.
These are all the names that you need to write a romance novel, a really cheesy.
Wheaton, Tanner, Caden. Oh my God,
I do not know which are the first names and which are the last names.
These are all first names now.
Okay.
Wheaton, Tanner, Corson, Caden, Witten, Con, Gage, Rains, Hampton, and Colby.
Oh my gosh, why is that so funny to me?
Because it's a stereotype,
it's ridiculous.
And unfortunately, when it's white people, stereotypes are fun.
They're so funny.
Come on with that.
That's silly.
All right, let's look at the women's. I haven't looked at this yet.
Oh.
Aurora, Parker, Loring, Dempsey, Barrett, Arden, Auden, Regan, Harlow.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
So bad.
The worst is that one of those is the name that I wanted to name our daughter, Harlow.
See?
But they're probably not naming it after the scientist who did the experiments with the monkeys.
No,
probably
but
not.
Does it matter?
No.
Holliston, Liza Banks. That's one word. Grayson, female.
Is it Liza with a Z?
It is. Harley, Hudson, and Winnie.
If she had same-sex parents, it's okay.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right.
Obviously.
Liza with a Z. I mean, come on. Seems like.
Liza with a Z.
Yeah.
So those are just some of them, but come on.
Oh, my God, Suze. That's hilarious. And half of those sound like fake names. The other day I was selling stuff on Craigslist, and I got an email. And sometimes when you sell stuff on Craigslist, there's a bunch of scams. And I got an email back that was like, looking to buy your furniture. And then the name was Dylan Lucas.
Huh.
And I was like, fake name.
Really?
Susie's mom would totally think that's a fake name. For
mom.
sure.
She sniffs out those fake
and then
names.
it turns out fake.
No.
And I'd even tried to like Google it with his email, all that stuff. Fake.
For real?
And I was right with the fake name, so.
Wow.
Yeah. Names tell us a lot, and those funny white people names.
Because it's one thing if it's just funny, but it's pretentious.
Yeah. Oh, so pretentious.
I mean, Lincoln Butler is not far behind, let's face it. I mean, if that name were on that list, no one would be like, that's weird.
Right. Nobody,
it would make sense.
Yeah,
That's
that makes sense.
White boy weirdo.
Sarah Patterson would not make sense on that list.
No.
It'd be like, weird,
it's
Sarah.
too normal.
It's too normal. But Sarah Rice especially, yeah. Patterson is kind of like a,
waspy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I just thought you'd get a kick out of that.
I do.
I mean, what's in a name? But
yeah, a lot.
Unfortunately, a lot. Just like we were saying last time about Susie Butler, she probably sells Tupperware. Like, we make assumptions about people.
Yeah.
So beware. If you're having a baby, like, really think about that.
Susie and I are giving each other such big eyes right now of like, oh my God, yes. I'm like thinking
why.
about that. And yeah, we're like, oh, you do have to think about that stuff. Like, this is bad for the podcast, but.
I mean, but it's true.
It is.
Hold on, I got to hydrate.
Oh, she's hydrating people. Give it time. Okay.
All right, I feel better now.
She's better.
Okay, what do you want to talk about now?
Did you see the Aziz Ansari comedy?
No.
Stand-up? That was my first. I was like, I had a big wall up with watching that.
Why?
I gotta say, first, I was a little hesitant. Okay, there were a few things I want to talk about. So
okay.
I watch it, and like a lot of comedy specials, there's always like a little intro, where they're like walking up or whatever.
I hate that.
Okay, I'd like to break that down for a bit. It seems like in a lot of them, they're kind of sad. Those intros.
Well, that's for sure.
Yeah, what's that about?
I think that the artist is generally pensive before a show, so I think they are trying to exhibit that.
It's just a strange thing to like kick off a comedy special.
Yeah, I see
with
what you're saying.
Something dark and sad that kind of makes it's like somber in the beginning.
Yeah, but
and
maybe it anchors it or
that's
something.
A good point.
I don't know.
There's got to be some study
logic
to it, because once I saw Aziz Ansari's and I was like, that's kind of a sad start. And then I thought about other ones and I was like, wait a sec. Mm-hmm. There's kind of a pattern of sad starts. And
they're not like juggling or something.
Right.
They're always like in deep thought.
And then I was like, maybe this is, you're seeing, because we've talked about how sometimes comedians can be kind of sad and have this, like, that's their real,
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe that's a way for them to kind of, I don't know, be vulnerable or show a little bit of the truth of who they are before they go up on stage and they become the comedian that,
Yeah. Whatever it is, it's intentional.
Yeah.
To create whatever mood they're going for. So maybe that is what they want to do. They want to provide it some sort of foundation, and then it lightens up or something.
Yeah.
But I'm usually turned off by it and forward through it.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of makes me feel a little, like, sad for the for the comedian, or like, I don't know what that was about. So
it's not joyful.
The whole thing kind of started with that sad tone, and he did address his sexual misconduct, I think, in a way that was well done.
What did he say about it?
Oh, that's the thing I wish I took notes on, because I don't remember. I watched this like a week ago, maybe a little bit less.
The tone?
Very apologetic and unaware of how his actions were perceived, and very humbled, and not like,
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was well done. And the other move that he made that I thought was really smart is he sat down the whole time. Mm-hmm. And there was something about that made it seem even more like,
yeah, it's a humble posture.
It was.
Right.
And I was at the end, I was like, okay,
I mean, I wasn't upset about the accusations against him. I thought that it was so overblown and sort of silly.
Yeah.
Like, if I were her, I'd be upset, but I didn't think it deserved to be
Yeah.
public information about his weird sexual proclivities, especially since she didn't say no.
Right.
I mean, it seemed weird. But he had to address it.
Right. Has to.
So I'm glad he did it in a way that you felt was meaningful.
Yeah, I did. And then I was really going, the whole time I was like, I'll probably turn this off. And then I ended up watching the whole thing. And
he's very talented.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay, he did it. That was a good way.
And do you think he's out of the woods now and like everything's fine?
I don't know. I do feel like he's suffering from severe depression. He had a tone that was definitely different. And he also he talked about his own self-growth on there a lot. And he talked about why he's realized he's not the how he's really shed that what does he always say? Treat yourself, like what, fancy stuff, blah blah blah, like how he's all into that. He's really shed a lot of that, and through this process realized like what's important. And I just liked him talking about that, and I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, you'd recommend it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's good to know. I wondered what your thoughts were going to be about it.
Because there was another one who I didn't watch. Who was it? There was somebody else who had
This
gross,
is fun.
a
woman, a man
with the
black, white, big, small,
big and gross,
gross,
with the masturbating with the
oh yeah, Louis C.K.
Gosh, that was a long way around the mountain. I mean, big. I shouldn't say he's big. He's not big. That was like.
I'm thinking like Ralphie May. I'm like, he's dead.
No. Oh my God, that's right.
R.I.P. Ralphie.
No,
yeah,
I mean,
Louis C.K.
Like,
is
and in my mind,
dick.
he's like bigger than he really is because he's just sloppy and gross.
Yeah,
you know?
he's gross.
Like he didn't ever apologize.
No, he's
or really
fine with it.
Yeah,
he's like, what?
So, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
don't get me started,
sorry, Linda.
We are
not at all. Neither is he. So there you go.
That's right. He is not sorry for Linda or
anyone. So that turned that off. I couldn't even watch a second of it because I was like, oh.
He has a new one though, or you mean the old one?
I feel like there was something
the old one.
that maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, F him.
Yeah,
he is like white male, straight privilege embodied in a human capsule. He does not get it either.
No. Ugh.
And he thinks he's the victim, and all these other male comedians agree with him, and I just hate it.
Ew, who? Mm-hmm. Who do I have to hate now?
I mean, I get the impression that people like Jerry Seinfeld would think, you know, because he hates cancel culture. He hates, like, politically correct prescriptions.
Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, whatever, I get it. But I think a lot of people are like, yeah, it's bad, but not that bad. Like, if some dick is blocking me in a room while he wanks.
Oh, my God, so fucking gross. I mean, that's like the grossest.
Grossest. Any hoodles. Well, you know one ritual that I do love? Taking my vitamins, Sarah.
Yes, need it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Got to get a little bit of the vitamins.
Yes.
You got to get a little of the whatever the heck they put in those things, like all the fish oil and
that's really important.
All the what are they called? Omega-3.
Yes,
all the threes,
omegas.
the ones with numbers.
Yeah,
they
the good
seem
stuff.
important.
Yes,
who
they
cares?
are.
As long as it goes in your body and it doesn't taste like garbage or make you sick, which is what Ritual does, then you're in good shape. They've obsessively researched the multivitamin for women specifically.
Love it.
And they made it with 9 nutrients. They're difficult to get in your diet, and so they fill in the gaps, what you might be missing if you're not eating right or whatever. It has all the good stuff that'll keep your energy up and feeling good. And they have a deal for you guys. If you try Ritual today, you'll get an exclusive offer for 10% off your first 3 months. Visit ritual.com/braincandy to start your Ritual today. That's 10% off your first 3 months at ritual.com/braincandy. They have a prenatal vitamin, which is awesome. They are vegan, certified, sugar-free, non-GMO, all that good stuff. It's the only vitamin I've taken as a ritual religiously because it doesn't make me sick. It's time-released, and it smells like mint and tastes like mint. So you guys will love it. And there you go. So order that at ritual.com/braincandy.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Dr. Ruth documentary?
No. I have to because it's our friend, right?
Yeah, Ryan,
Yes.
he made it. Who made The Keepers, and we had on the show. And then, remember, he took me to the Emmy party,
Yes.
The Netflix Emmy party.
Where hilarity ensued.
Total hilarity.
Remind me again of the limo. Tell us that story again.
Just that I was like in this get up with my tits hanging out, and which was only because the dresses that I ordered never came, so I had like to find a dress at the last minute. Anyway, my tits are hanging out, and my Uber picks me up out front, and it's like all these fancy people in their limos, and then this guy in his like 1994 Toyota Corolla rolls up, and he is grosser than gross, and I get in, and it smelled like actual shit in there.
Oh, God.
And it was not okay.
Celebrities, they're just like us.
I guarantee you everyone was like feeling very sorry for me because it was a pathetic display. Me in my Cinderella ball gown with TITS's.
That's too funny.
But
God.
Anyway, Ryan made this wonderful film about Dr. Ruth, and you know how she's just a fireball.
Yes.
She's 4 feet 10 inches or something crazy. And her parents were killed in the Holocaust, but they had sent her to an orphanage beforehand. And so, they were sending the letters, and then one day the letters stopped. And that's when she knew that it was over. They had perished in the Holocaust. But I think I told you how she keeps in touch with all the other kids at the orphanage.
No.
Not one of them has committed suicide. Not one of them has depression.
What?
Not one of them has become a drug addict. I don't get it.
Okay, what is this resiliency
She
that happened?
claims-
What's going on?
Her theory is that the foundation that is created in the home that would then have you send your kid off to spare them was probably enough to keep them healthy and well for their whole life. And what a beautiful story.
It's kind of like hope. They
all had that firm foundation.
Yeah.
They knew they were loved. They knew they were cared for, even when their parents were no longer. And, she created a sexual revolution in a way.
Yes, she sure did.
And she
educated
has a PhD.
Millions.
Yeah, she's just amazing. And I went to he had a viewing, and she came. And when I walked in the theater, there were 2 seats that said reserved. So I was like, I'm sitting next to those people.
You're so smart.
And so I did. And then she came in and sat down, and she goes, I like your shoes.
What? I can't believe you waited this long to tell me.
It was on Instagram. It was probably before you were active on there.
Probably. Oh, my God.
But
this is so cool.
Yeah, I was like, this is a good moment.
Likes your shoes.
She likes my shoes.
Which one were they?
They were the African pumps.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah.
I was going to guess those.
But anyway, but the film is fantastic because what an interesting person and a credible story and an inspiration.
I want to know how she got interested in that subject and how she became, to be able to speak on that and at a time where it's really kind of taboo. And
she's interesting because she's progressive in many ways, but she's also quite traditional.
Yeah.
And so she kind of does that thing where you work backwards. So like afterwards there was a Q&A, and I said, that I'm curious about religion, obviously, and that I wondered how, I forget what I was asking, but something just about how she is a Jewish woman and how she reconciles her, prescription for like doing whatever you want in the bedroom with religiosity. And she claims that her religion is very progressive and whatever. She kind of worked around it, but it felt like she is this, so she's going to make her sexual ideas fit with what she already believes, and she is masterful at that. Because most people would have, like me, I had to change my beliefs.
Right.
She kind of kept hers and then worked backwards and was like, here's how I'm going to make it work.
It's interesting, though, because the more I studied relationships and intimacy, the more I saw a link between some of the messages that I would say the core message that many religious traditions are trying to teach.
Yeah.
Like, for example, after a lot of research, I mean, this goes against everything we say on here, but a lot of research shows that women who have fewer sexual partners before getting married rate their sexual satisfaction as higher.
I remember when that study came out, but I didn't. Was that it?
Yeah, it was like the less sex partners you have, the more happy, because you don't really know. It's like if you've only had vanilla ice cream your whole life, and you'd be like, I'm fine with this. And if somebody gave you chocolate, you'd be like, even better. But you haven't had like a million.
That was not true in my case.
Me neither. But that's what the research shows. Whatevs. And also, cohabitating before marriage is not good.
Yeah, I get that.
And that kind of fits in line with a lot of, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even like abstaining from it's very difficult to create a lasting relationship that's built on, I don't know, certain things. If you started like with a one-night stand meeting in a bar, like it's very hard to kind of come back from there and build, not saying that it doesn't happen.
Sure.
I'm not saying that at all, but
statistically,
better to wait until monogamy before you.
Boo!
I know. So that's like,
Yeah,
the more you know,
maybe.
you're like, oh, maybe that's kind of like what they were trying to teach with those stories in the old book over there.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. Here's the thing that I'm thankful for, that she had a progressive idea about homosexuality very early on. And that was really special for the gay community, especially during the AIDS scare of the 80s. And she was like, you know, she just was the voice of reason about it and was educating people about how you get AIDS and what can be done or whatever. And she's the old lady.
I know, it's great.
Yeah.
And the accent, so cute.
It's on Hulu if you guys want to watch it. It's really good and just fun. She's such a fun person to watch, but you really get some insight in her private life.
I mean, my favorite thing were the Herbal Essence commercials when
Oh,
she'd be like, try the body wash.
Yes. And she was in
that.
a lot of stuff like that. She's kind of like a pop culture
totally
icon.
is.
And she's just magical. I forget how old she is now, 95 or something.
Oh my
but
God, could you imagine?
she's still killing it.
Yeah,
She's
we're going
a
to be
delight.
like that.
You think?
Oh, for sure.
Sarah.
There's no reason we would not be
I
crushing
think
it.
I'm going to have an early death.
No, stop saying that.
I do. I really believe that.
I don't believe it.
I was thinking, though, how I'm getting to the age now where it's like it wouldn't even be that tragic. So maybe I'm out of the woods.
You're fine.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I didn't die at 20 or 30.
I know when I made it past that 27, you know, we're like, I'm good.
Right. Now we got to go to 100 or
Totally.
whatever. Okay.
102, me and you. and then it will be like episode 3,816.
How many of these episodes do you think you have in you?
3,816.
Oh, do you? You just indefinite.
You know, I feel like once we made it past 100, I was like, shit, there is a lot to talk about. Like, I really could keep talking for the rest of my life.
That was your benchmark.
I don't know. Maybe, like, not really, but, you know.
Right. We didn't run out of anything.
Yeah.
We do repeat ourselves.
Yeah, but it's so that really, it's just updating.
Yeah.
You know, it's
We're
kind of like
revisiting.
Yes, we're revisiting, which it's important to do.
One thing
Things.
that we should revisit, though, is how awesome Fabletics leggings are.
Yes.
I mean, have you guys ordered yours yet?
I have lost my black pair with the zipper on the side. I cannot find it anywhere. I searched my whole entire house because I just went on the airplane, and that's my airplane outfit, as you know.
Landon.
I have to find it.
What if she's like, I know how I'll get her.
Steal her Fabletics.
Oh, you'll find them.
I know. They're somewhere. I have to find them.
Well, you guys can find them at fabletics.com/braincandy because they have wonderful leggings and pants and all kinds of athleisure for whatever you are going to be going about doing. It's a one-stop shop for affordable athletic wear. Really high quality, but really affordable, which is so cool. And looks super cute and flattering, too. They have a lot of high-waisted items, which I love. Just a lot of variety, a lot of colorful, and then there's matching, you know, the whole
the sets.
outfits. Yeah, people love that.
I love them.
So they love you guys, too, and they want to give you a deal. So to get 2 leggings for only $24 when you sign up for a VIP program, just go to fabletics.com/braincandy to take advantage of the deal. That's fabletics.com/braincandy to get 2 leggings for only $24 and free shipping on orders over $49, international shipping available, and there's absolutely no commitment when you purchase your first order. Fabletics.com/braincandy.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, what else did I want to talk to you about? Okay, here's one for you. There was an article, I forget where now. Oh, The Cut. It was talking, I keep coming across these articles about the invisible labor of women. I know we've gone down this road before, but this one was framed through the lens of they were on the subway and somebody's watching as I think their coffee kind of spilled a bit and there was a puddle and they had to go rooting through their purse and get out napkins and like put it down and try to clean it up even though you're going to fail miserably when there's a huge spill.
Yeah.
And so the article was talking about how handbags sort of represent the requirement of women to be ready for anything.
Oh, my God.
And the
it
burden
is so true.
of that.
It
that
is so true.
You don't think about very much because it's seen as an accessory and something cute. We love bags. I love getting a new bag. But what is required of you is the expectation that you're going to have everything that you and your family needs and you're going to lug it around all damn day.
Yep.
I thought that was insightful.
That is. And I have this panic if I don't carry my bag with all, everything.
I tend
you name
to do
it,
like...
I can...
Yeah, you have a lot of stuff.
It became the running joke at school where they were like, yeah, it's in Sarah's Mary Poppins bag. Because they'd be like, oh my gosh, this little screw fell out. I'd be like, hang on, I got his toolkit. Oh, my shirt, I got a hole in my shirt. Hang on, I got a sewing kit. I have all that stuff.
Yeah. And so you're
what is that about?
Well, we're expected to be the problem solvers.
Yes.
And just how literally and figuratively we're supposed to clean up the messes.
Yep. And I was just thinking when you said about the mess, where if you have a purse, there's almost the expectation or assumption that you're going to have some tissues in it. And if you were in a crowd where you didn't even spill the coffee.
Yes.
And you're in a crowd of 5 dudes and you have a huge ass bag, they're going to look at you.
They're going to look at you.
Like, don't you have anything in your bag to clean this up?
Solve my problem. Clean up my mess, lady.
Dude, I know that that's true.
Right?
What is
Because their moms cleaned up their messes.
Yep. Oh my God.
And so now we have to clean up the messes all the time for everybody. Our kids, our husbands, and also strangers who might...
There's an experiment in this where, like, somebody's got to do... This is like one of those hidden camera things of, like, what happens when a guy spills it and how many people come to... Yeah, I need to know all this.
Well, and it's just a social construct that you see so much that you don't think about it.
Right.
And so we accept it as okay and normal, but it's a burden that women are dealing with day to day. They need to be prepared. They need to clean up the messes of other people.
It's so strange. Mm-hmm. This makes me like want to just ditch my bag.
Well, I tend to be an all or nothing.
Yeah.
So I either have the bag and have everything, or I'm like, here, I have a lip gloss hat and put it in your pocket.
Yes.
But usually men are throwing their shit in our bags.
Yeah, I know this.
And there's another problem, which is why aren't you guys putting pockets in every piece? Because they want us to have a bag and to wear heels so we can't run away faster.
Escape. It's so crazy that
Put the pockets in the clothes.
Yeah. I do have an amazing pink dress on Poshmark that has pockets in it.
Yes.
It's the best dress. If it
why
still
are you
fit me.
selling it?
Oh,
it's too big.
All my clothes don't fit now, so I have to get rid of everything. They're beyond tailoring, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, somebody will pick that up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it's got pockets.
Pockets. That is the key selling. Like, your wedding dress had pockets.
I know.
I love that.
It's pretty much all you need to know about me as a person is that my fucking wedding dress had pockets in it. Like, I have to be practical. And I had lip gloss in there then, too.
And one of my favorite fat things was that even before Landon and I got married, I had, like, my Pinterest, like, dream wedding board. And the dress that you modeled yours after was the dress that I had on my board.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, it was like the J. Crew wedding dress with yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So your wedding, when I was like, oh my God.
We were twinning.
Even had the same.
Yeah. Do you think you'll get married again?
I don't know.
Like, what's your position on that? Obviously, these things are subject to change, but a lot of times when people get divorced, they think never again. You know, like...
It would look different. Like, I feel... You know, I have a friend who got divorced and then met a wonderful man and had babies with him. And then now they're getting married after having the babies. Mm-hmm. And it does feel to me like kids are the glue that holds two people together way more than a marriage, certificate does.
Yeah.
And so I think getting married would be more for children and for their, than for myself.
Yeah.
Anymore. I don't know, though.
I was saying that to Sarah whenever this whole thing began, that, I have been married before and divorced, but because we didn't have a kid, it's really like it just goes away. Yeah. Like after you deal with the terrible nightmare of it all and the paperwork and the selling and the splitting of the stuff, then it just goes away.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a kid, even if you're not married, it ain't going away.
It ain't going away.
So that you're right about. The permanency is really with the kids you create, not in the paper you sign.
Right. But I would do it so different. I would elope. I would get married in a courthouse. It would be so private. And I recently heard from one of my therapist friends about a woman or a couple who they created their vows that they said in front of everybody, and then they created what they called their shadow vows.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that. Yeah.
Did I talk about this on here?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You're into that.
I'm really into it because I think talking and being open about those parts of you that, you know, we all have, that nobody's perfect and nobody's going to do everything right the whole time, but, you know, being like, sometimes when I'm, you know, in a certain place, I will react harsher than whatever it is, like, and being, and because I think with that and with that vulnerability and that openness comes compassion and forgiveness and understanding and caring from the other side. And when that goes both ways, you can survive so much. But when there's this expectation of like, here are the vows and you have to be like exactly these good things and there's no, you know, wavering from this, and it just feels like this immense pressure to be perfect all the time, and nobody is. You know, so I think talking about these are all the things that I commit to you, but also these are all the things that, you know, the reactions I may have that aren't always the best, but, you know, do you accept those too? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and I was wondering if, because you're a marriage and family therapist, if you were struggling with the idea that you were going to be divorced. Maybe you are, but it's so useful.
I know.
It's going to come in handy.
That's what everybody keeps saying.
Dealing with people who are in this nightmare, because there's a level of empathy that you can't really get unless you go through it.
Absolutely.
So that's
so
a good
much.
thing in a way.
I mean, I think
Silver
about
lining.
all the tragedies and all the things. I think about a miscarriage. I think about, you know, I had a client who had, who was dealing with depression, and he was really struggling because he had family members that were not able to understand how he couldn't just get up and just be okay.
Yeah.
And his mother shared with me that she had had a miscarriage. And I said, remember what it was like when you had your miscarriage? How nobody could tell you that how you just had that sadness and it didn't matter what people said. That's what his depression feels like. And she got it.
Oh, that's good.
And it was like through that I was able to teach a lesson and through my own experiences connect and see like the connection between that feeling and what depression could feel like and what sadness, you know, all those things, to be able to, I don't know, create some sort of analogy to help people better understand. And I felt like I couldn't in good faith sit across from somebody and tell them that they need to, or that how helpful it would be for them to follow their goals or follow their dreams and live in line with what their, you know, their core values are and what their soul wants, and not be doing that myself. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So that'll come in handy.
Yeah.
You know what else comes in handy is having the right clothes and the best clothes to wear to work. I know so many of our listeners are in the medical field, doctors, nurses, dentists, all that stuff. And for so long, all those people had to wear these scratchy, ill-fitting scrubs. And now Figs came along, which is this awesome company that makes high-quality, super soft, and really functional scrubs and other clothing for medical professionals. So, like, they're designed with innovative technical properties so that you got all your tools and stuff handy. And I placed an order and got some just so I could see what we're dealing with. They are so nice. They have a whole line of like stuff that people can wear under their scrubs. And frankly, they're great for everyone, not just medical professionals. So I'm super stoked about them, but you guys are going to love them if you have to wear scrubs, especially to work. And here's another cool thing. Every time you shop at Figs, they give scrubs to healthcare providers in need around the world through their Threads for Threads initiative, which I always love a company that does that. So whether you're one of the awesome humans that works in healthcare or someone that wants to say thanks to these deserving folks, that would make a great gift. You guys should do that. Figs is going to make that easy by providing you with a 15% off your first purchase by using our code BRAINCANDY. So get ready to love your scrubs. Finally, head to wearfigs.com. That's WEARFIGS.com, and enter our code BRAINCANDY at checkout. What a great gift for somebody you know in that profession too. But check them out, wearfigs.com, and use our code BRAINCANDY. I need to tell you this funny thing that while we're sitting here.
Oh, yeah. You're like giggling over there. And I'm like trying to like just pretend to keep the conversation going. And
Matt Neroni, my friend, who's one of the guys that you were speaking about earlier, that some of them are just really nice, good people.
Yes.
That
perfect example, Matt Neroni.
Matt Neroni's my guy. Anyway, he's listening to one of our other episodes, and he said, regarding Sarah's ganglion cyst going away, quote, "No wonder we have abandonment issues." Did you hear that in the episode that we did about?
No, did you say that?
Yeah, because you were like, I had it, and then it was a cyst, and then it just went away. And then I'm like, yeah, no wonder we have abandonment issues, and you didn't respond. And then
those are always my favorite jokes.
And then
it's true.
He goes, oh, Jesus, that was premature. I just got to the Sheboygan serial toilet cocker. This one's off to a good start.
That might be one of our best episodes. Sheboygan serial killer. That really was one of my favorites. It still tickles me. And I spent the next week trying to remember what the hell the name of that city was. It's like Cincinnati.
Well, and how then it became the Sheboygan serial toilet cocker. I'm glad we enjoy ourselves.
Hey, if no one else does, just us and Matt Neroni. That's all we need. Oh man, that is funny.
Yes.
I don't know where I was, but I came home and somebody was like, "Oh, what'd you talk about?" Maybe I was hanging out with my aunt or my mom. I was like, "What'd you talk about on the podcast?" And I was like, "Oh, just like a guy who intentionally clogged toilets with shit."
Brainy stuff.
It's like weird what stands out in my mind. We could talk about a bunch of really deep stuff. We talk about good things.
People don't care when we do that.
I don't remember. No, they do.
I think they prefer mainly like when I can tell you a news story that's silly and then you react to it. Because that's really your superpower.
Oh, well, thank you.
I consider my superpower to be the ability to find anyone online or any.
It is a superpower. You are good at it. You're like, hang on, give me 5 minutes.
Here's his cell number.
Yeah.
And Sarah's superpower is her ability to react with hilarity to basically anything I bring up. I always use the example, like if I said to you, I was just thinking about rocking chairs, and you'd be like, oh my God, I was just thinking about rocking chairs.
Because you did say that once, and it turned out I had 2 stories about them that day. I can't remember what they were, but, every now and then.
It's a limited skill set, but it really comes in handy on a podcast.
It's totally like that. But what I think,
Yes.
After reading our amazing book club book, Range, by David Epstein, which I really loved, it talked a lot about the importance of making analogies and how, like, being able to think about any subject and then think about the story, like the connections, the way that connects to other things is like, how we solve problems.
Yes.
So thanks, Suze. I'm very excited about this superpower. I need to make a cape.
Okay, so you know how you want to donate your body to science?
Correct.
So this guy donated his mother's body to an Arizona Center for Alzheimer's Research, and then he found out that it was sold. So I didn't know they sell them.
What?
To the U.S. military for $6,000, and they strapped her dead body to a chair and blew it up in a blast test.
No. That is the wrong. I was not talking about that kind of science. We're going to have a lot of, what are they called? Conditions, like this is going to be a long packet I'm turning into the UCLA Medical Center, where my body's going.
What if you can't make, conditions?
Well, is there something to be gained from this research?
I guess so.
Then go ahead.
Okay. You don't mind if these people make $6,000 off of your rotting dead body, strap you to a chair, and blow you up in a blast test? You're fine with that.
I feel like if you were to word that differently, it wouldn't sound nearly as bad. Like, the body was repurposed for use in military intel and utilized for a military experiment by attaching rather than strapping it down. I'm trying to think of like other words that would make it sound not. And even though I'm trying it, it's not doing it any better. But
I mean, I don't think she would have wanted that.
No,
is the
probably
thing.
not.
You know, they had something in mind.
Yeah.
You kind of needed to be real specific.
Yeah, like research. That's like, I don't know if that falls in. Well, does that fall into the category of science? I guess so, but
It's a little too broad.
Yeah,
I
need to be a little more specific. I'm going to be like
Can we
UCLA
be, though?
and do not move me.
But do you think maybe they don't do conditions, like, type of thing?
Maybe you can donate to a specific department.
Uh-huh.
Because, like, I'd be very, like, only
But if they had said,
neurological science.
Ms. Rice, are you okay with the military using
I would
it?
say
You
yes.
would have said yes.
I would have said yes. You're right. Especially with how much I love the military now.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
by the way, you have your work cut out for you because I know you're feeling very hopeful about all that, but the numbers are not good with sexual assault.
That's the tricky part. So it's kind of like the diagnosis of a disease that we've recently discovered, that the rates of diagnosis go through the roof. And it's like, are the rates of that disease going through the roof, or is it just the diagnosis of it? And so that's what's happening is we have far more people coming forward and saying that these things happen to them. Mm-hmm. And it's so important to understand that these things happen in like clusters because you have few people committing multiple acts. Mm-hmm. There was a study that was done with incarcerated prisoners of sexual assault, and they originally reported, there were 99 prisoners, and they originally reported, I think it was 153 victims between all of them. Then after documenting their conversations and listening to them for however many months, it came forward that 963 victims between all of them. Mm-hmm. So it went from like one, or like, what was it, like 10 for each, or one for each, to almost 10 for each. Uh-huh. So that's what we're seeing is like you have a maybe leadership in a certain group where the messages are not clear about what, is or isn't sexual assault or sexual harassment. And then one person, like, that is okayed in that group somehow. And then you have one person or two people who are getting us these really high numbers. And when you kind of like narrow in, it looks really bad. But when you zoom out and you look at really what they're doing to combat this, to fight it, is there's so much. I mean, there are every single what are they called? I always get the names wrong of all their, like, military is so, they have all names for everything,
Yeah.
Like, I can't, it's like every group or battalion or whatever they call it has a representative from what they call a SHARP program, which is Sexual Harassment and Assault Response and Prevention Team. And every single group has a representative. And I went to this obstacle course just the other day with all these soldiers. And what they did is they ran through, they got together in teams of like 10, and they ran through the obstacle course. And after finishing an obstacle course, one of the obstacles, before they continued to the next one, they were given a scenario. And they were read a scenario, like, you're at a strip club and you see this, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And what are they supposed to do? And they couldn't continue on until they got, correctly answered it. And if they didn't, they had to do burpees. And it was just like hearing the ways that they are trying to, like, send these messages. There's so much that they're doing, and, like, no news is covering that. They're covering the story of, the assault that took place over here, but there really is a ton that they're doing to stop this. And no one, I have not met a single person on any military base that I've been to that has said, we don't care about this, or this isn't an issue. Mm-hmm. Every single one said, this is a top priority, and this matters to us so much, and here's why, and this affects camaraderie, this affects everything, this da-da-da-da. And we have way more women who are in positions of leadership now that are changing it. Like, I've met, I think, 3 or 4 drill sergeants, and half of them are women. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 out of 4. were women. So
I would argue, though, counterpoint, that you know how in the country hate crimes like race crimes have risen, and white people have been emboldened by racist rhetoric. I think that's also happening with the rape and sexual assault. Even though Me Too happened and people are being getting in trouble more maybe than they used to, I do think there's still a sense of like the misogyny being reinforced at those high levels, which makes maybe more things happen.
And I would say that probably is in small,
not just in the military. I mean, just
everywhere.
culturally.
Yes, where they're almost like, it's kind of like that we talk about in therapy. Whenever you try to create a boundary, the person who you're creating that boundary with will do one of two things. They'll either fall in line, or they'll give you double what they were giving you before, as if to test it or be like, oh, really? Well, yeah. So it might be some of that.
Yeah.
But I think
and
that
those
is
few
getting,
bad seeds that you're describing are perhaps they think they can't get caught or whatever the heck.
And I feel like that is getting like weeded out there with the more females who come in too. And there's a lot. They were just telling me and showing me all these pictures about they just did an all-female para rescue, like, where they're like jumping out and of planes and everything, and it was like an all-female team. And then there was like they were telling me, like, a man was telling me how there was one guy who was like, why do we need to do this, like, and how the men in the group were like, this is important, shut up. And and they was like, why don't we have like a men's month? Well, you do. You get 11 other, like they get 1 month. You have all the rest of the year. And these were guys who were telling them this. So that is changing. It's just, it takes time, and it takes,
people like you.
Yeah, hopefully. And people like my amazing speaking partner, Flip, who's a male, who's out there running the course with them, and then gets up there and says, it's not just females, and this happens, and it doesn't mean all these things, and look at all these myths, and it's just really powerful. Yeah. And even just, it's amazing the things that get you respect with that group, Like, I did one of the obstacle courses, attitude changed after, like, not from mine, but what I got from other people changed. I think in my head, I'm thinking coming in a blazer with my tattoos covered up is the way to go. Nope. As soon as they saw my tattoos, like, high-ranking officers were coming up to me being like, that's badass. We all have them too. Da-da-da. You shouldn't cover those up. And I was like, well, this is the opposite of what I was expecting. Yeah. So, you kind of got to, a lot of yes ma'ams, yes sirs, and a respect to hierarchy, but they're so open to learning. And to see all these military, like, high-ranking officers taking notes. And when I'm talking about the importance of, like, trauma and the connection to the body, and I'm like, oh, there's a really great book called The Body Keeps Score by Bessel van der Kolk. They are, like, scribbling it down of, like, oh, yeah, I got to write that. And they are getting it. And it's really, really inspiring. Every single time I go, I'm inspired.
Keep up the good work.
I'll try.
And don't forget, you clowns can do your part by friggin' subscribing to this GD show and giving us a 5-star review. And we'll see you next time.
Yay!
Love you. Bye. This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.